All right, welcome back. This is it, the final chapter of C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce. And I hope you've really enjoyed this series. Next week, we'll be starting a new book. And thank you for putting any suggestions you had in the comments. And hopefully, you'll enjoy the next one just as much as you enjoyed this one. So let's get to it. And suddenly, all was changed. I saw a great assembly of gigantic forms, all motionless, all in the deepest silence, standing forever about a little silver table and looking upon it. And on the table there were little figures like chessmen, who went to and fro doing this and that. And I knew that each chessman was the idolum or puppet representative of some one of the great presences that stood by. And the acts and the motions of each chessman were a moving portrait, a mimicry or a pantomime, which delineated the inmost nature of his giant master. And those chessmen are men and women as they appear to themselves and to one another in the world. And the silver table is time, and those who stand and watch are the immortal souls of those same men and women. And then vertigo and terror seized me, and clutching at my teacher, I said, "Is that the truth? Then is all that I have been seeing in this country false? These conversations between the spirits and the ghosts, were they only the mimicry of choices that had really been made long ago? Or might ye not as well say anticipations of a choice to be made at the end of all things? But ye do better to say neither. Ye saw the choices a bit more clearly than ye could see them on earth. The lenses were clearer, but it was still seen through the lens. Do not ask of a vision in a dream more than a vision in a dream can give." A dream? Then, am I not really here, sir? "No, son," he said kindly, taking my hand in his. "It is not so good as that. The bitter drink of death is still before you. You are only dreaming, and if ye come to tell of what ye have seen, make it plain that it was but a dream. See, ye make it very plain. Give no poor fool of what no mortal give no poor fool the pretext to think ye are claiming knowledge of what no mortal knows. All have no Swedenborgs and no Vale Owens among my children." "God forbid, sir," said I, trying to look very wise. "He has forbidden it. That's what I'm telling ye." As he said this, he looked more Scotch than ever. I'm sorry for my Scottish accent. I was gazing steadfastly on his face. The vision of this chessman had faded, and once more the quiet woods and the cool light before sunrise were about us. Then, still looking at his face, I saw there was something that sent a quiver through my whole body. I stood at the moment with my back to the east and the mountains, and he, facing me, looked towards them. His face flushed with new light. A fern 30 yards behind him turned golden. The eastern side of every tree trunk grew bright. Shadows deepened. All the time there had been bird noises, trillings, chatterings, and the like. But now suddenly the full chorus was poured from every branch. Cocks were crowing. There was music of hounds and horns. Above all this, 10,000 tongues of men and woodland angels, and the wood itself sang, "It comes, it comes." They sang, "Sleepers, awake, it comes, it comes, it comes." One dreadful glance over my shoulder I essayed, not long enough to see, or did I see, the rim of the sunrise that shoots time dead and golden arrows and puts to flight all the phantasmal shapes. Screaming, I buried my face in the folds of my teacher's robe. "The morning," I cried. "I am caught by the morning, and I am a ghost." But it was too late. The light, like solid blocks, intolerable of edges and weight, came thundering upon my head. Next moment, the folds of my teacher's garments were only the folds of the old ink-stained cloth on my study table, which had been pulled down with me as I fell from my chair. The blocks of light were only the books which I had pulled off with it, falling about my head. I woke in a cold room, hunched on the floor beside a black and empty grate, the clock striking 3, and the siren howling overhead. And that's the end of The Great Divorce. So what'd you guys think? In the comments below, why don't you write down some of the things you really enjoyed about the book, any questions that you have about what it was even talking about. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for watching. This is a little shorter of a chapter, so I felt like I could do that. I read this book for the first time in college, and I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I read it in one day, even though I wasn't assigned to read it in one day. It was for one of my literature classes. And there was something that just really struck deep in my heart about this idea of getting a chance to go one more time and basically find repentance and forgiveness for our lives. But what Lewis talks about in this book is kind of this idea that this is just a vision of how we are entrapped by things here and now, entrapped by jealousy and wanting to feel have people pity us, or lust really having this grip on us, and all of these things that keep us from God, and how there's a chance to overcome them, but they're so big that we need somebody to descend to hell for us. And of course, the only one that could do that was Jesus. And so Jesus enters our lives, and he gives us the opportunity to be broken free of all of those things so that we can experience the glory that comes after death. So I just wanted to say, hey, if maybe that's you today, you've been bound up by something, you feel like that thing has just been pulling on you, and you just can't break free, that Christ can break you free, that he can heal you, and that he can make you a whole person instead of just a ghostly shape. He can make you into who you were meant to be. All right. I'll talk to you guys next week as we start a new book. Bye.